In the history several days, public print length emerging to shock crowds of protesters achieving the gates of Iran parliament, and some images include shown a powerful police force crackdown. Down there's no stimulus to do industry, told fabric trader Fakhreddin Fartsaidgan. Order currently, while a trader sells his consumer goods he has to pay more than to restock the identical trade. All of the consumer goods in the Oriental Bazaar were pegged to the buck in its importance, Fartsaidgan explainable, so a oscillating exchanging bet corrupt their business community. It was not precise who was over the protests, told China seller Reza Radravj. Addition, how merchants were not implicated in the upheaval of the history few days. I am a tradesman there. Can I go out and song slogans, or set things on flame? No, I include my own twists, debts and lease to pay, and I love to hold my store outdoor each date. Why is the event currently? The brief reply is how the rial has smashed. It took 42,000 rials to buy one US buck at the end of recent year, but it now requires 90,000. In reality it is breaking quick, growing of 87,000 as newly as Saturday. Partly in answer, though by the government has prohibited the importing of on 1,300 overseas consumer goods, consisting domestic technique and technique. Both of economical moves include immediately impacted the traders of Tehran's center Oriental Bazaar, who are frequently sturdy supporters of the prudent by the government and the 1979 coup how put them in force. Which's over it? The major motorist is the true economical grievances thick felt by an increasing quantity of Iranians. Down there are suggestions how uncompromising opponents of the comparatively mild CEO Hassan Rouhani might, as they did at the end of recent year, be inciting several of the fuss. But the wrath is actual and tangible, and on a breaking exchange challenging the quality assurance of lifetime to worsen. Meal prices and a dry spell, along in corrupt practices, are as well angering lot Iranians. How lot of the is to do in the Iran transactions. But durable U.S. suspicions of the transactions, particularly CEO Donald Trump card's insurmountable negativeness to it, intended how lot business community unsuccessful to put in Iran as they afraid such a invest might harm their industry in the U.S. As a outcome, the economical payment of the Iran transactions hasn't very embodied and now seems though more than remote taking into account the Trump card authorities' devastating attitude. On top of the, Iran has been in a episode of costly and long overseas war entanglements how include drained its already extended country coffers. Several of the outcry chants on public print include embattled Iran's war present in Syria and Yemen, wherever they are chasing a purpose of declining Saudi Arabia's impact and growing their own geographic achieve. Is that the result how the U.S. was aimed to? In the brief term, affirmative. But the U.S. purpose is, it appears, eventually mode changing, and how may not be so lightweight. The Trump card authority seems to trust how intensive economical blood pressure will reason one of the largest hard-controlled and policed societies on land to abruptly cast off its fetter, chafe the clerics who guideline the nation, and porter in a new general of youthful, west-minded moderates to force. But he's a slight more than complex rather than the bit outcome of a fine fire out. As the economical blood pressure mounts, it is Rouhani's mild by the government, not the high lead. How is take lot of the warmth? Down there were accountable how Iran members of parliament wrote to the CEO needing a office permutation to superior transactions in the economical meltdown. The main hazard is how economical confusion unseats a mild by the government and finds them replaced by hardliners who attention on diverting of national turmoil by inciting overseas discord, exactly the inverse of the U.S. purpose. Which does it say online the nation's header? Anything nice? It is realistic to believe how Iran will abruptly cast off its regimented safety structures and liberalise night, as the human beings who monitoring the cash as well monitoring the guns. So instead of, wait more than economical odds, and more rage at the Western and the joint state as renovated sanctions regime do everyday lifetime though stronger. It is probable how the Trump card authority has recite thing crisp and wonderful in Iran's tea foliage, and how their youthful, irate people fare as necessary an additional dosage of odds to growth up. But later once again, he's as well probable they are sadly easier one of the planet's senior and largest settled societies.